Hey there, everyone. It's Sherry, your turnaround coach, once again for another week of a little tidbit of information that can help you on your path with your turnaround. All right, so this week I want to talk about something that's super important. So let's sit down, let's stop what you're doing, let's really get in a place where you can listen, maybe take a few notes, or go back and re-listen to this when you do get an opportunity to really sit and take some notes, because the information I'm going to share today is pretty important. Today, I want to talk to you about setbacks, because we're on this journey of turnaround for a reason, right? Something is not going the way you had planned. You had this vision, you had this dream, you set some goals, you went out to accomplish it. Maybe things were going great for a while, but you got to a wall. Maybe they were never going great to begin with. Whatever reason, there's a setback. And when you have a setback like this, it's super important to remember that you have to remove yourself. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about that. When I came in and did my turnarounds at the 3 schools that I did them with, I was coming in as the new leader. So what had happened before I got there, I had no power or control over. However, in this last school, we had a couple of years where we saw some setbacks. We saw things go different in a different direction. I know exactly what the reasons are for that, because I did the same process as when I came in new to the campus, right? So I was able to do the deep dive analysis, figure out the root cause of what was happening, make goals and plans to remedy, and then make sure that I monitored the progress, made adjustments as needed. However, the first thing that I had to teach myself to do when I did that for the first time is I had to remind myself that even though I was the leader, it wasn't about me personally. Yes, I was responsible. I had the responsibility to lead the school, to do what I needed to do to keep us on track. And maybe that didn't go well. But personally, it didn't mean I was a bad person. It didn't mean that I was mean, dumb, rude, not knowledgeable, not capable. It didn't mean I myself necessarily was the failure. I think that that's something that we really need to think about when we're making these turnarounds. Because if we're dwelling on the personal feelings, it's going to be very difficult for us to be able to put the new plans in place, really figure out the real reason why something is happening, and be able to move forward. Let me give you a little bit of an example. If I took everything personally on the first setback that I had, and I had 2 of them at that campus, then I probably would have maybe quit. If I hadn't been able to do some inner work with myself, I would have probably said, I can't do this. I can't fix it. I caused this. I'm giving up. And that's not what needed to happen. But had I stayed at that place and maybe not quit, if I kept in those feelings, then would I have really been able to have a fresh mind, been motivated enough to be able to work whatever plan we made? If I didn't have the belief that once I fix this system, we're going to move forward, then we were never going to move forward. I would be continually battling between myself and what the real cause of the problem was. I hope that that makes some sense. Because I want you to really think about, if you're in a place right now where something is not going well, maybe you stumbled upon this video just because you know me and you like me and you wanted to hear my thoughts today, not necessarily that you're in a struggling situation, but maybe you are. And whatever it is, personal, business, school, whatever it is, I want you to realize that, yes, as the leader, you are responsible. But it's not because of a personal attack on you. It's because something that you were responsible for was not working right. It could be your climate and culture, which you're responsible for, but it's not because you're a bad person or you're a mean person or that you were mean to people. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It could be that your systems are broken or people are not following the procedures. That has nothing to do with you personally. It may mean that you need a better monitoring system, or maybe you need some more modern strategies within your system of what's happening. But it doesn't make you a bad person. And even if we look at leadership skills, that has nothing to do with you personally. But maybe you just need to develop a different skill, a new skill, or to look at something different. I'm going to take the fact of the pandemic. After the pandemic, I had to learn some new leadership skills. And I was doing this at that point 13 years. You would think that I knew a lot, right? But because of the way society was moving, the perceptions of communities and teachers and what they thought they should be given as compared to what we were allowed to do for them, I had to learn some new skills. I'll give you one very specific example. I had parents after the hybrid year, so pandemic's over, the next year we bring some students back that are ready to come back and some students are at home learning online. It was a complete disaster. The following year, we made a decision as a district not to have online learning, which I think many districts did that. That was not what our teachers wanted, and that was not what our parents wanted. And here's why. Parents didn't want it because it was just easier to let kids be at home and learn from their teacher that way. They didn't have to drive. They didn't have to take care of those other types of things. And teachers didn't want it because they wanted to work from home. Well, I get all of that. Those are real feelings and real perceptions, but it wasn't working. So I had to learn some new skills because what I wanted to say was, no, I get it, but no, that's just not the way it's going to be. But that wouldn't have made me a good leader. I need to learn some communication skills that helped me to have the empathy for what everyone was feeling and still be able to keep them on board, following our mission and vision, following our policies and procedures, and doing it well. So hopefully that gives you a little something to connect to as you're thinking about this. So again, I don't want to make these episodes long. I want to keep them very bite-sized little tidbits, but I do want you to really think and rewatch this as many times as you need to. Reach out if you want to have some support on how you can dig down and make sure that you're not taking everything personally. I use a lot of my life coaching processes now as I start to work with schools and businesses to help them turn around, because it is all about us believing in ourselves, plus believing in our systems and our organizations in order to be successful. And by doing that, we really have to look at reality and not necessarily our thoughts and our feelings about it. All right. So I hope that was something that could be helpful for you. Again, reach out if you need me, but I am going to let you finish your day and hopefully have a great one. And I will see you next week right here on Turnaround Principles.